For years, the public fixation on the Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump scandal played out as a lurid internet melodrama. The media economy fed audiences a continuous loop of secret lists, private islands, and conspiracy theories, until analytical focus was pulled into a single point. In media dynamics, this is a heat sink. When a story burns this hot, it performs a society's thinking for it, drawing all the oxygen out of the room and away from the surrounding reality. Society took the historical memory of 20th century state breeding and fused it with modern tabloid outrage. The result was a punishment structure in which using accurate language to discuss biological advancement became a political liability. This produced a children's version of history. While audiences argued over the island narrative, the tools for selecting and propagating human traits were already scaling up in plain sight.
What do a beauty pageant, an IVF clinic, a genome sequencing company, and the White House all have in common? They are all distinct systems of trait appraisal. They are methods for sizing human beings up, ranking them, and deciding which qualities get rewarded and carried into the future. The drive to select and sort traits never disappeared. It simply changed its vocabulary and migrated from social rituals into laboratories and capital markets. These systems mark a transition. Human selection has moved from an informal social instinct into a quantifiable design practice. Human trait selection is an ancient instinct. For centuries, societies conducted this sorting through supervised marriage markets, like high society ballrooms and cotillions. That instinct eventually formalized into public spectacle through beauty pageants. These events took physical symmetry, poise, and presentation and converted them into a mathematical score. Donald Trump owned the Miss Universe organization for 2 decades, actively tuning the selection machine. He implemented a policy he named the Trump Rule, giving himself authority to override judges' rankings and advance contestants who fit his biological aesthetic. That precise mechanism of appraisal is now leaving the pageant stage and entering the fertility clinic. The modern equivalent is polygenic embryo scoring. This data visualization maps a shift in measurement. In 2020, a private company screened a pool of 33 candidate embryos for a single couple. They filtered the options based on statistical risk factors for heart disease and diabetes, ultimately selecting a single child named Aurea. This is the same act of evaluating traits seen in the ballroom, now moved from visual observation to genomic measurement. Jeffrey Epstein operated as a private aggregator for this transition. He acted as a patron who synthesized 3 distinct fields: genetics, artificial intelligence, and longevity. He directed millions of dollars to Harvard's Program for Evolutionary Dynamics, placing him in direct proximity to prominent geneticists advancing the boundaries of synthetic biology. A focus of this network was in vitro gametogenesis, the process of creating viable eggs and sperm from ordinary body cells. It was an attempt to understand how reproduction might be scaled beyond current biological limits. At his private New Mexico ranch, Epstein discussed plans to seed the human race with his own DNA. It was a magnified, capital-driven expression of the desire to propagate a lineage. He took technologies that institutions were quietly building in separate silos and integrated them into a single private transhumanist portfolio. While Epstein operated in private networks, Donald Trump represents the public pathway, translating these emerging capabilities into mass populist policy. Trump branded himself the fertilization president, signing executive actions to make in vitro fertilization reliable and affordable for more Americans. His administration launched TrumpRx.gov, directly negotiating price drops for specific fertility medications to lower the financial barriers to reproduction. These policies integrated with a broader pro-natalist agenda, including federal pilot contributions for children, designed to encourage and fund population growth. Trump took the science of human reproduction out of elite clinical euphemism and embedded it inside the machinery of the state. Biological design today is decentralized, driven by venture capital and market-based fertility upgrades. This chart explains the biological reality of pleiotropy, the fact that single genes influence multiple systems simultaneously. Because a single perfect genome is a myth, the market is driving toward constant, iterative embryo selection. But the rules governing this frontier are fragmented. Technologies like heritable gene editing are managed through legal loopholes, congressional riders, and state-by-state workarounds. While public focus remained on the tabloid surface, the rules governing the next generation are being written in private clinics and venture offices. While internet cultures generate cycles of outrage, laboratories are screening for disease, repairing mutations, and expanding the limits of healthy life. The machinery of reproductive strategy and continuity engineering is already running. It cannot be abolished. It can only be governed. The species' direction will not be decided by those standing outside the gates screaming about scandals, but by those quietly designing the biological continuity of humanity inside the laboratory.